your seats. We will begin in a moment. Welcome everyone to the second day of the Budget and Finance and Metro Council's annual budget hearings. Today I will give my usual friendly reminder that to the best of our ability, we are here to talk about the budget proposal before each of the departments and parts of government that are coming before us. And then once again, I remind you all, and since everybody I think was here yesterday, that indeed Mr. Riebling did an overview of how internal service fees are now reallocated in the budget, and that they indeed do appear as reductions in virtually everyone's budget, but it is not an actual reduction. And we can talk about that more if we need to, but we did do that overview yesterday. We begin today with the state trial courts. With us is presiding Judge Joe Binkley. Judge Binkley, if you would introduce those with you. You are on.
Am I on? Thank you. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Councilman Stein. To my right is our trial court administrator, Tim Townsend, and to my left is probate judge Randy Kennedy. Also in the audience are several judges. There's Chancellor Carol McCoy. I can see her. I can see General Sessions Judge Angie Blackshear Dalton. And I think I see Judge Bill Higgins. And I can't see who else is there. Anyway, and Judge-elect Kelvin Jones, 8th Circuit Court Judge-elect Kelvin Jones is here. And many of our state trial court staff is here, and we appreciate everyone being here.
Judge, before you begin, our threshold question for everyone is, can you operate within the mayor's proposed budget?
Yes, we can. And
with that, you feel free to have the floor to talk about what you all are up to in the trial courts.
All right. Thank you, Councilman Stein, Chairman Stein. The state trial courts appreciate very much the assistance and guidance that has been provided by all you fine council members and the mayor over the past very difficult budget cycle years that we've all been through. And even though all of us have experienced budget cuts of some form or another since the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2008, we have been able to basically do more with less, and we've lost staff members and we've lost funding, but we are continuing to operate well within our budget constraints. And we thank the staffs of all of our judges of the state trial courts, as well as the staff members of the state trial court administration. All of them do a fabulous job for us. And the 18 trial courts, state trial courts continue to do business in an effective and efficient manner. The 20th Judicial District remains one, if not the busiest judicial district in the entire state. Last year, our courts, all 18 of us, disposed of over 25,000 cases, and it remains our top priority to keep cases moving through the system as quickly as possible and bring resolution to as many as possible as quickly as possible. We're always analyzing our caseload of all 18 courts to assure that our judicial resources align properly with the needs of the public. Last year we told you all that because of the increase in the number of criminal cases that we were considering moving the DUI cases from the criminal courts to one of our civil courts, which we have done and have been doing for many months now, and we have done so without requesting any additional resources, and this move has had a minimal impact on our other judges. As you all know, the Community Corrections and Drug Court programs headed by Judge Fishburne, who heads the Community Corrections program, and Judge Norman, who heads the Drug Court program, continue to accomplish outstanding results for the participants, and the taxpayers of our county are the recipients of that hard work. The recidivism or repeat offender rate for drug court graduates in Davidson County was only 20% last fiscal year, and the national average for recidivism or repeat offenders after attending and completing drug court programs is 58%. So that's a 58% repeat offender average for the nation. Judge Seth Norman's average is 20%. So he does a fantastic job. We continue to operate within our budget mandates as set forth by the council and our mayor, and based upon our latest projections, the state trial courts will come in under budget for the current fiscal year, and with no supplemental appropriations have been requested. And the fiscal year 2015 state trial court budget request does include one improvement of $195,000 for the Office of the Public Guardian. And Judge Randy Kennedy, I'm going to let him address that issue. Judge Kennedy.
Thank you, Judge Binkley, and thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the Metro Council Budget and Finance Committee. Let me say how much we appreciate the council's enthusiastic support of the funding for the establishment of the Office of the Public Guardian. It will be, once it has been initiated and launched, probably one of the first programs east of the Mississippi River to tackle this growing and challenging situation that we have with the most vulnerable of our citizens. And I've got to say that I believe part of the mayor's proposal comes as the result of your input. You've been closely monitoring the developments of that program from the time of the establishment of the volunteer task force right up until this date, and I just want to say I appreciate your input. One of your members, Councilman Walter Hunt, served on that task force and was one of those who recommended this particular matter, and with that we're excited about the opportunity to establish that office in this way, and I'm certainly available to answer any questions that any of you may have, not only today, but as we go forward.
Judge Kennedy, let's begin there, though, and for two reasons. Obviously, two questions, and the first is a general one, just to help us understand, because obviously this council is very interested and I think very supportive of you in improving public guardianship. Briefly tell us how it's going to be better. And then secondly, because this body approves the official position, I guess it's called public guardian.
Right.
Do you anticipate that that recommendation and that person will be the person that you hire in this office, or will that position be separate from this office?
It's very likely, the first part of that question is how will it make things better. We've had a significant and continuing growth in guardianship and conservatorship cases in Davidson County over the course of the last several years, and we have approximately 250 a year in new cases, over 2,000 cases that are maintained from year to year because conservatorships, unlike other trial court cases, do not conclude upon the appointment of a guardian but require continuous oversight. We believe that by funding this program, we're going to be able to hire an individual who would be a manager of the program, as it were, who could in fact monitor all of the cases that are flowing through our court. We believe that position is actually will not be the quote-unquote public guardian position, but will instead be the management arm and oversight of that program. Secondarily with that program is the hiring of an accountant/auditor who will be able to look at and examine from year to year and audit, if need be, any accountings with questionable expenditures, property management plans for individuals that require property oversight, and it will let us have oversight that we have not had in the past. Now, the statute calls for the nomination and approval by the council of an individual serving as a public guardian, and this court has managed to have 5 agencies and over 15 lawyers and non-lawyers who have served as appointees as independent guardians and conservators in those cases where either a family member was was not available or where we could not agree upon someone who had already been appointed to serve as under a power of attorney or other advance directive. I anticipate that I'll be submitting to the council at a later date, beyond the establishment of this appointment, the panel that I've been using in the past. And if it becomes necessary for the court to nominate or for the council to appoint an individual to serve as the public guardian, we may in fact do that. I've got to say to you, however, Councilman Stein, that I have been incredibly pleased with the use of a panel as opposed to using one individual. A part of the criticism that arose from using one individual as a public guardian is that there were too many cases for that one individual. Now, instead of having one individual with 80 to 100 cases, we've got 6 or 7 individuals who have 20 to 30 cases. And so we can expand the number of cases we cover by having more people. And so I don't anticipate in the next couple of months asking for the appointment of a public guardian, but I do anticipate that we will hire a management individual who has a law degree and who's licensed to practice law to oversee the program.
Thank you. Judge Binkley, do you have any more general comments before we go to questions?
No, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Councilman Tigert.
Thank you. Just a couple of questions. In our budget book, E28, 5, and 6, some of the differences in this year's budget from last year, personal services, $166,800, very first item there. Just give me an idea of what that...
That's the two positions.
Excuse me, Tim, that microphone straight ahead of you can use.
I believe those two positions would be the difference would be the two positions mainly for the improvement item, for the
2 extra...
for Office of the Guardian. Yep, 2 employees.
All right, and then on the next page, $76,800 professional and purchase services, an increase from $248,800 to $325,600.
That has to do with the, I think it's the special purpose fund. That's the fines and forfeitures special purpose fund. It helps to support the drug court. And that is a contract that works with the Drug Court Foundation.
That's the management, not the management,
yes,
but the...
assist, yes.
The assist, okay. And then on down there in the revenue, the decrease in federal and state pass-through funds and the decrease in fines.
The pass-through, the $44,200.
Or the increase in fines, I should say. Yeah.
Yes, the $44,200 would be a combination of losing grants during the year and then adding grants back. The net effect would be a negative $44,200, because each year we will have several grants that we gain and several that we may lose. The increase in the revenue is for the fines and forfeitures account that we just talked about. Part of that $163,000 funds the $76,800 at the top of the page, and it also would help fund some of this $44,000 that we lost from the
Why in 13 was it 848,000 actual, then last year dropped dramatically, and this year back up dramatically? What caused the spike downward in 14?
I don't know unless we lost a couple of grants. I could ask. I do not.
But grants wouldn't be in the fines, forfeitures, penalties.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is. These are the federal revenue, the pass-throughs. Those are grants, and so they went from 3. That kind of stayed about the same. So this is down in fine and forfeitures. Why is the increase?
Yeah, if you look in the second column, 13, it was 850,000, then down to less than 700,
right,
and now back up to 850.
Right. We went back to 861 because of the $163,000 increase that we have, but I do not know offhand why it dropped.
If you could just check on that. That's what makes it tough sitting here not knowing these categories, what causes the fluctuations.
And I will get that for you.
My final question and editorial comment, the 20,000 recommended reduction that you all will determine in budget cuts, I hope that will not go against the outreach of the drug court, the community service program. That is such a bang for the buck in the community, and so many of us that have used the services of these folks very much appreciate it. I know our neighborhoods and the county appreciate it also.
Thank you.
Councilman Claiborne.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank all of you for being here today. I don't have a question, but I just wanted to say thank you to Judge Binkley for taking a lead in establishing the idea of this Office of Guardian, and to all the judges who participated with you in coming up with the formula that makes this work, and to the finance director and to the mayor's office for their willingness to be open to this discussion and move to the place. I think that these dollars are probably some of the best dollars that we'll be spending now, in the fact in it it's serving a group of people who are not capable of serving themselves. So I just thank you so much for moving to get to this point.
Thank you, Councilman.
Councilman,
Thank you, Councilman Claiborne, but the accolades go to Judge Kennedy.
Councilman Weiner.
Thank you, Chair. Again, I echo everything that Charlie said with regard to the work of the drug court. We really appreciate it. I just want to follow up on his question about the grants. Those grants that are lost from year to year, do we reapply for those grants and then receive them in subsequent years? Do they alternate? Do we know?
Yes, on some grants. We try to seek to continue the grants, but sometimes that certain grant phases out, and then you just have to look for more money. And we try to get money from the state, from the feds, from just anybody that we can get the money from.
And you have a dedicated employee that's responsible for that task?
That is where the Drug Court Foundation comes in, that helps to support the drug court, and also the two managers and directors of the drug court and the community correction program are the ones who head that effort.
Great, thank you.
Councilman Pridemore.
Thank you, Chair. Judge Kennedy, thank you for being here, and thank you all for being here. But I really appreciate what you're doing for the people that can't take care of themselves, the conservatorship. And a question in that direction is, this panel, when it is instated, will it take over for all the private agencies that's been handling some of the cases?
I don't anticipate that we would eliminate the agencies. You know, the agencies are, some of you have seen the material we sent out on this, Greater Nashville Regional Council on Aging, which has a contract with the state, ComCare Incorporated, which handles cases, the Michael Dunn Center, which was up in our courtroom today, handles some very severely disabled and developmentally disabled individuals. The Guardianship and Trust Corporation, these are the agencies we're talking about, and 50 Forward, Inc., which of course was the successor to Senior Citizens. They do a marvelous job, and I would anticipate, because of the unique nature of what they're able to do, that we will try to continue to have a relationship with them, because it doesn't cost the taxpayers any money to use those agencies, and it allows us to spread out these very complex cases among a lot of qualified individuals.
Well, that's where I was headed with it. It's a great source of services, and
Right.
at no cost to us or to the public. So it'd be great to keep them utilizing. Thank you.
We'll try to do that. Thank you, Councilman.
Councilwoman Langster.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to say thank you to all the judges, but in particular, if people don't know that in Judge Kennedy's former life, he used to sit right there in front of me in the Metro Council. But I want to say, Judge Kennedy, you're the perfect person to serve in this court because these people probably would fall through the crack and no telling where the essence of their life would end up. I'm sure it wouldn't be as strong as it is with you in the court services overseeing this. And I want to ask you, when you get ready to hire this person, can you please advertise in the minority papers in our community?
Absolutely. I'll take that recommendation, Council Lady, and we certainly, with the job description and the parameters of the duties and responsibilities, will make sure that it is advertised and communicated appropriately.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You bet.
Judge Binkley, Judge Kennedy, Tim, thank you for being with us. We appreciate your attendance. And folks from General Sessions would come on down.